Hi, everybody.
everyone.
Hey, hey.
Welcome back.
Welcome to our channel, Casual Conversation with GNA. I'm Eileen.
And I'm Gloria.
Today we have an interview with our guest, Brown Dwarf.
Cheers.
Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Greetings, ladies
So
and
it's
chat, excuse me, and the
go ahead.
YouTube world.
Yeah, I was excited to have you on because I always see you in all the chats and all the YouTubers that I follow. So we kind of like the same people in YouTube, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, and I think it was recently that we ran into each other on YouTube. I
Mhm.
forget where exactly it was.
It
It might
was
have been with
it was
Steve
coast to
Stock.
coast.
Oh, Costa. Oh, wow. Look,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
cool.
And because we were texting and then I went into the chat and then he was there, so we're like, "Oh dude,
That's
what's up?"
cool.
Yeah, so
Yeah,
it's
and
cool.
then since then, we've been finding each other in different chats and whatnot,
Mhm.
and yeah,
Are
I
you in
checked out your.
uh
Huh?
oh, okay, thank you. We appreciate that. I was just going to ask,
Hmm.
do you go into Spaced Out Radio too?
Yes, yeah,
Okay.
definitely, and that's also been new to me. I think within the last year or so, I've been checking them out, but I've been long time, coast to coast. I used to listen to that on the radio,
Mhm.
and even before I got into like YouTube and stuff. So that was a good source of information back in the day. And I'm actually not too far from I know where their studio is. It's right here. I think it's
That's cool.
Studio City, but it's not too far. I know where the building is, and yeah, it's cool to know that that takes place there.
That's awesome. That's actually how I got into all of this because of Coast to Coast.
Cool.
I would
And
just listen to it. Sorry, say that again?
how'd you find Coast to Coast? You used to listen on the radio, or
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, actually, my sister's ex-husband, he told me about it. And he's like, "Since you're all into this weird stuff," he's like, "you should just listen to Coast to Coast." And I was like, "What is that?" And so he kind of told me it was on at that time it was in the AM channel for us.
Yeah.
So I would
yeah,
listen after I got into it, I was like every night like there. So it was cool.
cool, cool.
And it had a lot of like special,
Interesting topics all the time.
yeah, like the missing 411, that was like my stuff. And which I
For
was going to
sure.
ask you about that because I know
Hmm.
that you go out a lot. Do
Yes.
you kind of take things with you? Do you take a tracker? How do you do it?
Yeah. I do. I'm totally into the phenomenon. I'm fascinated by it, and I do believe there is something going on, and it's pretty creepy, but yet interesting. Um, and yeah, when I started finding out about it, I definitely the information that I was receiving really woke me up and made me realize, there's certain things that we should have while we're out there, certain things you should do before you go out, like as far as letting someone know, um, having a plan of where you're going and sticking to it. And yeah, there's different devices. There's like the, what do they call it? The transponders that you can get. And that, it's tough with that because it's almost like having a phone, like a phone bill. Some of them you have to pay for, and
Mhm.
but I heard as of late, I heard something about like T-Mobile supposedly coming out with some sort of technology where they're gonna be able to have um, service in dead zones, like in zones where they normally
Oh.
wouldn't have service. Yeah,
Yeah.
and I was like, wow, that's interesting. But then I also heard that the new iPhone 14 may have a texting option to where you could do that in dead zones also. So I was like, wow, cool. And
Mhm.
so yeah, I did get those transponders. I had gotten like three of them just in case, you lose
Yeah.
one, or your friend comes and they need one. Um, but actually a lot of my stuff got burglarized. Our house got broken into a couple years back, and yeah, a bunch of my gear and stuff got stolen.
Aw.
And yeah, so some of that stuff is gone. But it's all right. I'll get that stuff back. But the good thing is also is that I double up. Like I say, I buy more than one of things usually, so I still have one piece of equipment that usually I use. So that's cool. But yeah, I've lost several cameras as of late. I've just been using my phone and stuff, and
Mhm.
but it works, you know. So, but yeah,
Yeah.
going back to that phenomenon, yeah, we're opening a portal real quick, huh? Uh, um, yeah,
That's
it's
the thing.
uh-huh.
I just wanted to say with the trackers, I was looking into them because we were gonna go camping, and I have 2 kids. So I was
Hmm.
like, "I'm gonna tie it around their neck, have it
Yeah.
on them 24/7." Like, I am not, and I was looking into it, but it's like a phone. You have to pay monthly, and,
Hmm.
I don't I was just, and now Costco has them.
Wow.
And it's
Okay.
those, I think it's the good ones, like the it starts with a G, I don't remember what it is.
Um.
Something like Gimlin or
Oh
I don't
yeah.
know.
Yes, you're right.
Yeah,
Garmin.
that one,
Garmin.
yes.
Yes.
So
Yeah. They
they
make.
have it now at
Yeah.
Costco, and I was like, "Should I get it?"
Yeah. That's a
But if
good brand.
Co yeah, it is. I was diving deep into that because of, Dave Paulides, and I was like, "I'm so paranoid, I don't want my kids to go missing, like, this is crazy." But now that you're talking about T-Mobile, I actually have that, so maybe that would be an option to add
Yeah.
that
Definitely.
maybe.
Yeah. Look into that, and yeah, going back to the, like you're saying, the monthly payment, it's like we're not using, even me being out as much as I am, you know,
Mhm.
I wasn't even using it all that often, you know. It's just like when I felt like I really needed it. And then you should use it all the time if you are in these places. But
Right.
you know, people aren't, you know, they're not gonna go out of their way to, you know, use that. And because people don't think that that's gonna happen to them. And it doesn't even have to be like a 411 issue. You could be in trouble or a car broken down and you just don't have service in that area and need to be able to
Yeah.
reach them. You know, that thing could definitely come in handy. And I got a funny story with one of those things. I had gone out and I took the device with me, and I had it on my hip, and I was done doing my thing, my little investigation and whatnot, and I was parked, and I must have accidentally hit the, you know, they have the emergency button, the
Oh,
SOS.
no.
Accidentally hit the SOS button, and I didn't know. I got a phone call from, I think it might have been my mom, and then the local sheriff department, they were like, hey, we just got a page from a device saying that you're in need of help. And I was like, whoa, what? Freaked me out. But we figured it out, and yeah, that was
Yeah.
a funny moment there.
So I wanted to ask you, because I know you go out a lot. Do
Mhm.
you have specific places that you go to?
Yeah, definitely. I of course try to hit the state and national parks, you know, because beautiful places,
Yeah.
and yeah, that's where a lot of this phenomenon is happening. And so yeah, I like to go to those types of places, you know, and whether it be like missing persons or, you know, reports of cryptids or even hauntings or whatever, you know, anything weird like that, that gets my attention, I definitely want to check it out. And so yeah, you know, it's been a blessing. I've been able to go up and down California and hit a lot of the state and national parks. And there's a lot of stuff I haven't hit either. You know, there's a
Yeah.
lot of places you want to go that are on my bucket list. But yeah, it's been a fun journey, and yeah, I try to get out as much as possible. And the thing is, it seems like yeah, that I'm going out a lot, but the thing is, I live in the woods, so I'm there already. So it's just, you know,
Really?
home.
So
You know,
so you live like in the Sequoia forest? Or
no, it's the
are you
redwood.
just saying?
Yeah, it's the redwoods. It's Humboldt
Oh,
County,
that's nice.
California. So it's like on the coast. If you're to go to the coast and go straight up, almost to the top of California, you're basically like
Like
Oh.
pretty much.
Pacific Coast Highway
Yep. Well,
area. Yeah, it's
there's
beautiful out
that. You
there.
take Highway One, but then
Hmm.
Highway One, right before you get into Humboldt County, it ends, and then it becomes what they call the Lost Coast. And yeah, that's a trippy spot. I haven't been there. It's like a 3-day hike. that you could go through. It's all wilderness, and you're on the ocean, and I could guarantee there's stuff going on there. You find Sasquatch there for sure.
That's scary.
And
Wow.
yeah, so usually
I
you
don't want
take
to
the
see.
101. The 101. So you could take the one, it's a beautiful scenic route. And let me
Mm-hmm.
tell you that one highway one along the coast, all up and down California, there's a lot of weird stuff, a lot of missing person cases, a lot of, UFO sightings, a
Yeah.
lot of weird stuff.
You know,
Yeah,
that's
like
interesting that you say that because when I went, and they have these beautiful redwood trees, they're so mesmerizing.
Hmm.
So
oh
I
yeah.
I wouldn't doubt that things like that happen.
You know what though? To me, I feel like the forest has always been mesmerizing to me. I love it. Like I would rather be in the forest than the beach. It's just like it calls me. I don't know why, but I get scared. Like I'm like, no, I'm not gonna go in there. I'm not gonna go further. So I try to keep that in my mind because one, I'm not like I'm not a hiker. Like I've never just gone out there. I'm sure I'll get lost. So
Is
Stick to
there
the
certain places that you feel have most activity?
what was that again? I heard most of it, but I just want to make sure I got the question right.
That if there's certain places that you've been to that you feel have the most activity?
Oh, the most? Well, yeah. Well, there's, of course, for me, my favorite, and I think that one of the number one spots. I mean, in California or just even in the country, for me is Bluff Creek, which is in our county, or it's on the border of Del Norte County, which is above Humboldt, and Humboldt County. So we kind of share the fact that the Patterson Gimlin thing happened there, but yeah, that's for me is number one, and I feel like that's like the mecca for Bigfooters, because it's one of the best pieces of footage, if not the best piece of footage that's been around, and it's stood time, and I believe and I know they're still there. We were there recently, actually, a couple months ago, and with a group of guys, and these guys are some of these guys are part of well-known groups and some cool guys and friends, and we did some investigating in the area and actually got some vocalizations possibly, and I did record that with my phone, and I did post that as well, and it's very faint, a faint sound. So one of the guys did some wood knocks, and a couple, might have been like a minute or so later, we got a response on a hill over behind us, and so that was pretty exciting and interesting. And so I believe those that audio, I sent it to my buddy Jonathan from Western Bigfoot Explorations, and I believe those guys sent it up to the guys at the Olympia Project, and possibly got some good feedback. So I'm excited.
That's cool.
I went ahead and jumped the gun and posted it, and but yeah, hopefully later they'll put that in one of their documentaries, and be able to do some audio work on it to where we could listen and
Yeah.
hear it a lot better.
That's crazy. So does it scare you like to meet
Yeah.
the what is it, a Bigfoot, like, or to see one? Like, is that something you want? I mean, I'm sure you've already like encountered some of them, but like face to face,
Like
like
an
right there.
Uh,
interaction.
okay, I totally missed that.
Oh, because it's breaking up.
Aw.
Yeah, he's out there. Can you guys hear our dog? She's like
I
freaking out.
know.
All right, I'm gonna say hi to some people
Yeah.
though. Hi, Vault.
Hi, Vault.
Uh-oh, I kicked him out. And then we have
Sugar
Sugar.
Britches.
Oh, here we go.
Hi.
All right.
There
Did,
you go.
did you guys were matrixing out a bit, and then I got cut out. So it could be on my end. I'm in the city, but I
Oh,
do have Wi-Fi, so who knows? But anyway,
it's
hopefully
okay.
we back on.
Yeah, we're good.
All right. So I totally missed the question, ladies.
Oh, go ahead.
What was the question?
Oh, Bigfoot.
Oh, yeah.
Encountering Bigfoot.
Yeah. Would you be
Yeah.
afraid to interact with him?
Yeah, it's a scary thing being out there and knowing that these things are out there, and knowing that there's unknown things out there, there's, and not to mention wildlife and then crazy people.
Yeah.
um Yeah, there's always that bit of fear, but once you get used to it, you're able to kind of deal with it. You still have scary moments. It's still scary in the dark, or even during the daytime, being in some of these forests or locations, it could be scary. But I guess that's kind of a part of the part of the whole thing. You get your little adrenaline rush,
Yeah.
but at the same time, you could have a real peaceful moment too. Sit there in nature and whatever, do your meditation, or whatever it is you got to do to get your vibes right. It's a good
Yeah.
place to do those things too, so it could go both ways. So it's all, yeah, perception. Once again, I've been talking about that lately, how you take things, and what your vibe is. How are you walking into these areas? Are you going in with a negative vibe? There's people that are trying to hunt these things, kill them, and that I don't really roll that way. But I know these things could be dangerous, so you got to be, if if I have the opportunity to be armed, I go in armed. But there's been a lot of times where I don't go in armed. And it's not for I come at them like I'm coming in peace,
Mhm.
with that type of vibe and attitude. But yeah, having a firearm, because you never know. There's a lot of these places. There's bears, mountain lion, you name it, dangerous stuff out there.
Yeah, and
So yeah, it could be scary still.
that's exactly what I was gonna say, that it's like any animal, right? That if you invade its privacy or its space, it's gonna be on an alert, right? And it's gonna attack if it feels threatened in any way. But yeah, like that's crazy.
Yeah, I
So
would.
let's see.
Yeah, I would. Most people would imagine that. Yeah, something giant and like a monster. Like,
Yeah.
um, yeah, it would be, evil and dangerous and all that. But there's people that have mentioned that they've had positive encounters, and then you hear about people and kids being like saved and rescued, and
Mhm.
but they don't say it was actual Bigfoot. They'll describe something else that may resemble a Sasquatch. And like, I don't know if you guys heard about the little boy, remember, that was saved by a bear recently, like it might have been a
Yes.
couple years ago or so. Yeah,
Mhm.
I don't think it was a bear. So
Yeah.
hear about stuff like that, and so you don't know. And then you hear about that, they could have different attitudes and stuff like that. I think that's possible as well, and
It's
then.
it reminds me of a child that went missing, and I think Dave Paulides was talking about that.
Mhm.
Where the child said that it was a fuzzy man that
Mm.
saved
Mhm.
him, and I was like, "Does he mean fuzzy as in blurry or fuzzy as in, like, fur?" Right?
Harry, yeah,
So, it's kind
interesting.
of interesting, and I don't know, it's just I just wish I knew.
Mhm. And I
Have
see,
you
I can see Donnie's question from here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah, what's up, Donnie? Cheers, and cheers to Vault too. I seen Vault say something earlier, and no, a full on cave system. Not really, but there's been some small caves. I know one off the top of my head at a beach. It didn't go in too deep, and there really wasn't much in there. Um, and in the forest, there's been a couple of spots where it kind of, it's cave-like, but not a full-on caves system. I haven't done any spelunking or anything like that, but I would love
Mhm.
to. And one of my first spots that's near me, because I'm living in Oregon now, is the Oregon Caves. I don't know if you've heard of that, and it's I think a national monument. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a spot. There's been encounters there, and all around that area. It's definitely a hot spot. So as far as caves, that's one of the first ones I definitely want to check out. And while we're on caves, this comes to mind. I've heard, because I've been doing a lot of investigating in Mount Shasta recently, and I've heard that there's a cave system that connects from Mount Shasta over to the coast to Humboldt County. And so I find that interesting. I'm like, I wonder what's traveling down in those caves,
That's
because
scary.
Shasta is just another super hotspot, for all this type of stuff. And yeah, definitely a magical place. And I recommend it, since you girls are in Cali. These are places you guys could hit. It's just a few hours away.
Yeah.
And if
Just
if you
let
need
us
a
yeah,
guide.
Yeah, send us a text with all the good spots
For sure.
because we
For
don't have
sure.
no experience. I mean, the only experience we have is like going up the sequoias, like Fraser Park with dad, um,
Awesome.
and camping out there at night. And we did have an experience up there.
I bet.
And we till this day, I don't know what it was, but we can hear walking,
Mhm.
things like grabbing stuff. I don't know. It could have been animals, but I was scared.
Yeah. Yeah,
I
and
was
you know
so
what,
scared.
the sequoias I have not been to. So it was what is it, Sequoia National Park?
Mhm.
Or because I know there's Kings
I
Canyon right there.
I think it's Sequoia National
Yes,
Forest, right?
Sequoia.
Hmm. And then you have Kings Canyon, which is another hot great, these are all great spots for bigfooting and all that weird stuff too. And then you have Yosemite, and Yosemite I have been
Yes.
there several times, and that's the mecca for the 411 phenomenon, so, and that's pretty much in your backyard, ladies, so.
Yes, it is.
Wow.
My dad actually works up in
Yeah,
the
yeah,
mountains.
Vault.
So
Awesome.
he like
That's
Yeah,
cool.
it's part of the Sequoia, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
but
Um,
that's crazy. I don't know. I don't know if I wanna see a Bigfoot. Like, I'll be cool with the pictures. Send me the pictures and
Hmm.
the footprints, things like that, but I don't I don't wanna see anything.
I
And
get you. And honestly, like, a face-to-face encounter, who knows how I would react or how anyone else would react, but yeah, for sure at a distance it's cool, but
mhm.
yeah, I don't know if it's a really close encounter, what I would do, but hopefully it would be a peaceful thing.
Yeah.
um but yeah, I've gotten some action out in Yosemite. I was able to record some vocalizations. I had set out, I did my thing, some hiking around during the daytime. Didn't find too much as far as like structures and stuff. I found some small stuff, but some small rock stacks and whatnot, but the audio recorder did pick up some vocalizations, and I did post that as well, and I actually reposted one of them on the YouTube, and so yeah, that's exciting. I would like to get that analyzed as well, but
Yeah.
with the audio recorder I used, it picked up pretty good quality, so even just without the audio, I mean without having to analyze, you could tell it's definitely something.
And the audio, like, the sounds that they
mhm.
make, it's scary. I
Yeah,
don't know.
weird. Yeah, it could definitely scare you,
Yeah.
and just some strange sounds sometimes, and we associate it with these things, but you can't confirm it because unless you see them actually doing it, right? You can't say, oh, it was a Sasquatch, or
Right.
we're assuming, we have an idea, or you know but I get that with the structures as well, unless you see someone building it or something building it, you don't know. We just have an idea, and we look for evidence around these things,
Right.
and just try to put the pieces of the puzzle together. And but I feel we're definitely onto something as far as the way we're investigating stuff, and the stuff that we're finding. There's something to it, so I'm sticking to it, and continuing to grow, learning from other people. And yeah, I love hearing other people's encounters and stuff, and I would like to ask your dad if he's ever encountered anything.
You know, he doesn't tell us a lot about his
Yeah.
work, but when we went, Eileen's had experiences there, but it's more of like paranormal stuff.
Hmm.
Um,
But
but they used to do tree knocking, like him and his friend would go up there and do that. And
Hmm.
what else would they do? He would just cuz so basically he works at a it's like an old resort, not a resort,
you said
like
mining.
a mining camp, but it
Yeah.
has a hotel and
Wow.
they've upgraded it. And so there's a big river, the Kern River, and then they cross over.
Hmm.
So he can cross over, and then once you cross
Wow.
over, it's the Sequoia.
Yeah.
So he's way up
Awesome.
there, and I don't know, it's really nice. I love going over there.
I don't because the forest there's scary. I feel like someone's watching me every time I go
Yeah,
there.
you do feel that way.
Yeah.
You do
See,
feel like you're being watched all the
Mhm.
time.
you see, so So if you're getting that feeling or those vibes, I would totally pop the camera out and start recording and try to aim it at where you're possibly feeling these things. And who knows, you might be able to pick something up. That's how I do it. Usually I go by feeling,
Yeah.
intuition and stuff like that. And whenever I feel something like that, I'll usually, if I could pinpoint where I'm feeling it from, that's where I'll zoom in. I'll zoom in and just try to keep the camera rolling there. And you'd be surprised sometimes the things that people get. It's trippy, and definitely a good technique for people out there trying to capture stuff. And
It
you
is.
see people that capture stuff that aren't even into this, and
Hmm.
they just like accidentally, they weren't trying, it just happens. And so that's, I guess lucky. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I
I
think I
don't
would
know, is
probably like zoom in and not look, because
Yeah,
if I see
there you
something, it'll
go.
freak me out.
because for me
There you go.
it's always like in a certain area. They have cabins out there. So their
Hmm.
cabins, they're pretty high up, so they have like triangular windows, and
Hmm.
they overlook the forest, and that's where I always feel
Feel
that,
that
like that
energy?
vibe where like someone's watching me from that forest.
Mm-mm.
So, and I've thought about
Wow.
that, like I've thought about like just staring, but then I'm like, what if I see something? I get
Yeah.
scared. Yeah.
Hmm. Yep.
I wanted to
And that's the
share.
thing.
Oh, go
Go
ahead.
on.
Go
No, I was
ahead.
gonna say, and then you never know what it could be. It could be a Sasquatch, it could be a ghost, it could be
Uh-uh.
a duende or something. I don't know.
No. We don't mess with the duendes. I mean, that our
Yeah,
parents would talk to us about that
Yeah.
all the time as kids. And my parents,
definitely.
especially my mom, has had experiences with it
Yeah.
or with them because it's they go in groups, I
Hmm.
guess. And she said
Yeah.
that it was normal to them that everybody knew that they were there and they would try to take kids away and
Hmm.
stuff like that. Mm-mm. No,
Wow. Yeah.
I'm
Well,
good.
being Latino, and I believe you ladies are Latinas as well, right?
Hmm.
It's deep in our culture. Whether you be Mexican or different parts of Latin America, or even in Spain and Portugal, the duendes in the Philippines also, the duendes are known, and of course a lot of other countries in Europe as well. Iceland, and so that's another worldwide phenomenon, I think. And yeah, they've always told us not to mess with them,
Yeah.
and but yeah, it's interesting. It would be interesting to find out more about them, and just, yeah, see them. I would like to see one.
You would? You wouldn't be scared? I think I'll be
Yeah, no,
scared.
I'd be scared. I'd probably be scared, but I wouldn't mind checking one out.
Okay. Well, I was gonna share some of the videos and the photos you sent me. That way you can kind of
Cool.
explain what you found. Let me just,
Okay.
okay, let me share it. Let me know if you can see it because I don't know if, oh, hold
Yeah.
on. I guess we'll go there. Can you see that one?
Oh, yes.
The
So
video?
that was recent. You're gonna play it first, or
Yeah.
I
Oh,
don't
let
know.
me put the,
Okay. Yeah. So I had gone to the park, and this is right down the street from my brother's house the other night, and then they have a little spot where you could exercise and whatever. And it was midnight already. I went to go exercise, and I noticed that one swing there was swinging by itself. There were some people down, way further down in the area. They were nowhere near the swings. There was no one around the swing or the swings, and that particular swing was moving, and it got my attention right away. But it took me a second before I popped my camera out and decided. I was like, man, should I live stream this or should I just record it right quick? So I hesitated, and by that time it kind of slowed in momentum, but it was moving quite a bit. But I did capture some of it, and it tripped me out. I didn't get freaked out, scared. Is there something here? And so I went back last night, and there was actually a couple sitting there. so I
Oh.
didn't get to see if anything was going on. But I'll definitely check it out tonight too. But yeah, that was pretty trippy.
Yeah, and it's weird because it's
Yeah.
moving, but the other ones aren't.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's crazy.
That's so
Yeah.
weird.
And
Especially,
you guys, people could check it out. It's one of the latest posts. It's like the latest post that I've have up. But
oops, we're
yeah, as
going
far
the
as like
wrong way.
paranormal, like ghost type stuff, that's like one of the first times I've kind of documented.
Okay, this is
That's
cool.
a really nice picture, by the way.
I think he froze.
Aw.
And just so you know, you're sounding a little choppy again, but I'm not sure if
okay.
you can hear me.
Yeah, we can hear you.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is cool.
Yeah, it's a really nice picture.
I don't know. How do they like stack this? Right?
Yeah. I wonder if it's like symbolic, you know?
Oh, I don't know if he can hear us. Hold on. Oh, he's lagging a little bit. Yeah, but he has like awesome pictures that he sent me. Let me remove that one. There you go.
Back in. Let's see.
Okay, let me share it.
There we go.
That one.
And just so, okay, let's see.
Can you
Hasn't
see
popped
it?
up on my end yet. No, not yet. But if you
Oh,
see it, and if you describe,
it's the one.
The
If you could
really nice
describe-
picture with the teepee.
Yeah, it
that
looks like a
sticks.
teep.
Okay.
Like
Yeah,
a,
that's
and then it has
yeah,
like
is
sand.
it on the beach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Is it on the beach?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay, if it's a teepee structure on the beach, so, and I was gonna tell you that you mentioned that you prefer the forest than the beach. Humboldt County, you get both. It's the forest and beach. And so on these
Wow.
beaches, I started noticing certain structures that really got my attention, and a lot of them were teepee structures, different sizes, and in certain areas. And come to find out, these areas are well-known hotspots. There's a lot of reports and encounters from these areas, and it's the same areas that I'm finding these structures. So, I'm really taking note of the structures. I've been documenting like what's in them, what's around them, how are they built, the type of wood they're using. See, so that teepee there, that was behind our pretty much behind our house. That's up in Trinidad, California. It's a fishing town.
Mm-hmm.
And my partner knows that I'm totally into this stuff, and he would walk his dog, and sometimes when he would find stuff on the beach, he'd be like, hey, you know what, there's a new teepee or a new structure over here, you should go check it out. But this time, this was behind the house next to a church, and in an area there's a trail, and it's all forested there, and no people go back there. No one even attends the church, not even on Sundays. I don't know, it's weird. But he was walking his dog back there, and he found that teepee, and I blew me away because it was like practically behind the house. Yeah, that's the one there.
Wow.
And then so that was really weird, because they say sometimes that these things could follow you home, just like other entities and stuff like that too. That if you go out into the forest and you have activity, and people come home, and then the activity will follow them home. And you mentioned like paranormal, a lot of people are starting to find paranormal activity along with Sasquatches, and some of it has happened to me, and I think like the teepee, for instance, is one of them. That's another structure in one of my areas.
So
Teepee,
do they build these for a reason? Like, because they don't look
Yeah.
like they can like sleep there.
right? And this one either. So like this one is almost like they marked that tree. I feel like they marked it, or they like decorated the tree for whatever reason. I don't know. Maybe they're honoring the tree or something.
Those are cool.
This one is at another county under Humboldt, and this beach was full of structures. The video was like 15 minutes
Wow.
long. There's so many structures. a bunch of teepees and all different types of stuff. It was amazing. It looked like a village, and the beach was closed down for some reason. Yeah, they had the
Huh.
beach closed, which I
Interesting.
thought was really weird. And these beaches in Northern California, it's not like Southern California or Central California beaches, where you have maybe Central California, not as much people, but Southern California, the beaches are packed.
Yeah.
It's crazy. Up there, it's very few people. You're next to the forest or next to some river or something. And so this area, there's a river that washes out into the ocean there. And they say rivers is another good spot to track these beings, because I believe, and people say that they use riverways to travel. There's water source, food, shelter too sometimes. So yeah, it tripped me out, and this location just had that feeling, also very strange feeling. And this is on Highway 1. So
Wow.
there you go. Yeah, and a lot of weird stuff in this particular area has happened, as far as the missing people, like I mentioned, and UFO activity.
Well, I thought it was very interesting that it was at a beach area,
Hmm.
because I thought like the beach was safe from all that. Like that's why I like the beach. I'm like, okay,
You'd
stuff like that doesn't happen. So
you'd be
I was
surprised.
shocked.
You would be surprised the amount of reports that come from beaches.
That one's
And even if you listen, I think Sasquatch Chronicles, in their intro, as of late, they have this lady with like an English accent talking about how she was describing her encounter and how they were gliding across the beach. And it could be, a
That's scary.
beach, on the
scary.
river, or a beach on the ocean. But they do, I believe, definitely hit the beaches. On the beaches, I found like big piles of clamshells, footprints, big footprints. Like I said, the structures, and even in one area where there's a lot of big structures, I found there's elk in that area, and it's on the beach too. So it's like, I'm telling you, the forest and the beach is right there together. And so there's elk in the area, and right next to one of these big structures was a big old elk kill. And I was like, wow,
Wow.
something, a predator got this.
So
Yep. And
for
so I want to find that video to post it. Huh?
that picture right
Excuse me, what was
here,
that?
the picture with the teepee structure on the tree reminds me of the 411 documentary,
Yeah.
where they would go camping to an area and they also had a similar structure, and they actually recorded sounds right in that area.
Oh yeah. The
Oh, you're
missing
talking about,
411, the
yes, you're
hunted.
talking about this the Sierra sounds. I know what you're
Yes.
talking
Yeah.
about.
That's
Yeah,
scary.
so
Yeah.
watch.
So
Yeah, they so but yeah, the structure you're talking about, I believe I know what you're talking about. The structure that you're talking about, the guys built that. Ron Moorhead and Al
Yeah.
Berry. Yeah, they built that, and they would stay inside. I think when they're recording the sounds, they were inside of the structure. So that was man-made. But it did remind me of one of the structures that we find. It was teepee like in a way, and it was pretty big pieces of wood too. So, but that goes to show you that people could do that too.
That's scary. That especially those sounds.
yeah,
It sounds like they're talking, right?
yeah, it
Like
did. But
Yeah.
language.
Oh yeah.
the creepy part was when they
Yes.
analyzed it. It was like someone 7 feet, right? Like for that sound.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
No way.
Yeah. The
scary.
those that audio was sent in to a specialist from like I forget, I don't know if the Navy or something like that, some linguist specialist, I
Yeah.
forget the guy's name. And yeah, he said that there's definitely a language. And I know Donnie Cho doesn't like that they call it samurai chatter, so we got to find a new name for that. And I agree, Donnie Cho, it's all good, man. But yeah, no,
It's
definitely interesting. I haven't heard really vocalizations like that.
I know.
Yeah.
I haven't
It
heard
was
anything else like
crazy.
that. Yeah. So this one here, this was a huge
Mhm.
structure down by a little above San Francisco, and between, like, I don't know if you know Mount Tamalpais. I can't
Mm-mm.
pronounce it. Anyway, and Point Reyes National Park. And if you look there, I didn't outline it or anything, but
Yeah, you can see it.
Yeah, Gonzo from Breaking Bad pointed these two possible subjects out, and one is standing, one is on all fours, and you can
Mhm.
see it's like a dark silhouette.
Yeah.
And
And
I actually had walked in the video. I walked up to the structure and examined it and everything, and I didn't see anything at the time. It wasn't until after we checked out the video and I sent it to Gonzo, and he was like, "Hey, bro, you know what? We got something here. Check it out." And so he sent me the timestamp, and I was like, "Wow, it's pretty interesting."
Yeah.
And like I said, it was a huge structure. There was X's and wood everywhere. It was just like you could
Mhm.
tell someone was doing something in there. And sure enough, these two possible beings pop up.
That's
So do they
scary.
build
yeah,
structures? Maybe. Are they invisible? Maybe. And here we
nice
go. This
pictures.
is this is I don't know what this
That's
is. They
pretty.
call it a UFO. And yeah, that's from our property. And we set up a camera and did some long exposures with a friend. And actually, there's a picture that goes
So
along with
pretty.
that. So before it turned into that, it was like a flash of light first. There you go. You see that? That was first, and then it turned into that big old long. It's like a red and
Wow.
yellow. It looks like red and yellow boxes or something. It's
Mhm.
just really bizarre. And anyway, so all around the property there, you can see it's all
It's
forested.
pretty.
And that's where we had the activity. I mentioned we had the Sasquatches on the property, and then also a lot of orb activity. Most of my orb footage is from the property there.
Yeah, because they say that there's like UFO sightings and Bigfoot sightings go hand in hand. Like
Wow.
they it's
Yeah,
almost
which
like yeah.
yeah, well, I heard a story recently out of Oregon that and it was
I like
this
that
family
one.
that lived on a farm, and I guess they were ranchers or whatnot, country people, kept to themselves, and they reported a UFO landing on their property and that they seen a Sasquatch come out of it, and it's just like you hear stuff like that, and it's just
Mhm.
like it's hard to believe, it's like
Yeah.
you want to talk about getting out there, going way out. It's one of those things, but I don't doubt it. You know, I I'll take that report and put it in my notes,
Mhm.
and it's just one of those things that I definitely keep a pay close attention to and keep it in my files.
Yeah, for sure. The
And so yeah,
prince.
the orb videos, a lot of them are posted. Some of them are really shaky, and some of them are good. Some of them aren't as good because I used sometimes my phone, or some of them were used using a better camera. And anyway, it looks like we got a track up here.
I know, that's so cool.
So yeah, this one is like almost like I call it like half a track. I know it's kind of hard to see there,
Mhm.
but it's also on one of the latest posted
Okay,
videos.
closer.
And yeah, this is up in Oregon, Applegate Lake, near the Bigfoot trap. And yeah, I found a bunch of tracks around there. I found a teepee structure. There's another one there.
That
I
one's
like,
very clear.
Yeah, I
right,
saw it and I'm like, that's a big foot.
right. And in the in the video too, I was trying to be like, I wasn't trying to be like, oh my god, it's a huge, but I said something like, oh, maybe it's a small person with something like that, with a dog, but then I also meant like maybe it's a hobbit or something like that. It almost has like
Right.
that type of foot. But yeah, so I'm thinking possibly a juvenile, because it wasn't huge, but it was a pretty big size, you could see, and it was deep in there. And yeah, it was exciting to find those. And there's a whole story behind that, because when I found them, I just took video and I went to go get plaster to come make
Mhm.
casts. So like
Mhm.
I think it was the following day or so, I came back with the plaster of Paris, and I couldn't find the tracks that I initially found.
That's
And I
crazy.
was like, what? And I spent a lot of time. It was hot. I was sweating and in the sun and trying to find these tracks, and I didn't find them, but I found another set. And so I did a video of those. And it happened to me twice to where I couldn't find these tracks. I was finding tracks and I was trying to mark them so I could cast them, and I was losing them, but yet finding some still. So yeah, it was interesting. And that's one of those weird things. People report weird things with the tracks also. Sometimes they'll just report one or two or three and they disappear, or just three-toed tracks, or just funny looking shaped tracks. The one picture you showed before that had a lot longer toes. It was a little skinnier. So yeah, it's like, what's up with that? It's weird, but I love finding the tracks. And of course that was found not too far from a teepee once again. So it's like, are those the teepee builders? Yeah, that one's another fat one there. It's kind of small because I took the picture with my phone, but it's boxy looking and just really stood out.
So here's the thing, because okay, this one looks like it was a heavy guy, right?
Yeah.
It's very deep.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But like, okay, without thinking about Bigfoot, do you think it would be like people walking around barefoot?
Well, I
like
think that's a
this?
Yeah.
huge foot.
Yeah, well, it's possible too. Yeah, because there was human tracks in the area too, but they look completely different than that. The human tracks had like the arch. You know how our feet have that little
Yeah.
arch? Yeah, it totally had the arch. Even though I think Sasquatch tracks do have the arch sometimes too. But the tracks I was finding what they call the mid tarsal break, and this one doesn't really show it, but a lot of them did, and that's like the middle part of the track will have like a little bump on it
Mm.
in the middle part. Yeah, and our feet don't do that. And from what I'm understanding, is that they might have a joint in the middle of their foot, because the way they walk is completely different than ours. I mean, they walk on 2 feet, but the locomotion of theirs is different. The gait is different. It's not like us. Their knees bend a certain
No.
way. They pick up their leg a certain way, and that's why they report that it looks like they're gliding, or cross country skier, they describe sometimes, or moonwalking, whatever. Wow. So here's this
Scary.
one.
Yeah.
So
Let me see.
this is in an area, just in the Hoopa Reservation. I don't know if you heard of the Hoopa tribe, but David Paulides spent a lot of time in that area. That's in Humboldt County as well, and I believe it's the biggest Native American reservation in California, if I'm not mistaken. And that's near Bluff Creek.
That's
And
scary.
this particular spot is called the Klamath River goes through there. And this particular spot we had to hike down to. It's a beautiful swimming spot, and it's called Devil's Elbow.
Hmm.
Yeah. And so I was recording, doing my investigation there, and I possibly caught some vocalizations that I was able to hear with my ear. And actually, this gentleman by the name of Bigfoot Anthropologist on YouTube took that audio and was able to find some stuff and sent me back the video I had posted. This is years ago. And yeah, he got some like percussion and possible language. Possibly, he says, they're possibly talking that he picked up, and so that was pretty cool. But then again, we got this timestamp, and I believe it was Dr. Squatch out of the East Coast, and I haven't seen him around. Hopefully, he's doing good. And he was far out with his investigations and stuff. He's some weird stuff, but yeah, we found this one, and so yeah, I don't know if you all could see it, but I see
Yeah,
something there
I can see
standing
it right here.
bipedally. Yep. And the face looks a little distorted, so I can't really tell what it is, but you could see once again like a grayish type. It looks like maybe gray skin.
Like this, you can see it. Look.
I'm not sure. And once again, you know what Paulides says about areas with the name devil in it, right?
I don't mess with that.
Yeah, be careful. So yeah, that was a very interesting capture there, and this has been posted for years, and it hasn't really made its rounds. I think it's only gotten a few hundred views, and I would like for more people to check it out. If anyone wants to share it or whatever, just tag me on it or whatever. But yeah, that's a good one, I think. And I got others. I didn't send them to you. I didn't send them to you because I wasn't sure because I've sent them to other people and people haven't posted them when we've done podcasts, which is
Oh,
fine.
okay. Yeah.
But I'm glad you showed that one because that's one of my favorite. That's a good one, I think.
Yeah, definitely. And that's the thing with like the footprints, right? Like it's what person would be out there with no shoes?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
so
Well,
it's kind of,
let me tell you. I'll stop you right there, really quick. Excuse me. So
you're like, I am.
up north, we have a lot of hippies. There's a lot of
Yeah.
people and like a lot of free thinking people. So you'll see a lot of people walking barefoot in town and or wherever, you know. So you
Really?
see that a lot. So yeah,
But
yeah, yeah. And you
but
know,
they
even when I'm in the forest, you know, sometimes or at home, I like to walk barefoot outside, you know, because they say it's actually it's grounding. It's good for you.
it is. And
Um,
and that's a
so
study
there's a lot.
sorry.
Go
No,
on.
I was just gonna
No, go
say
ahead.
that there's actually been studies about that where it shows that people that walk barefoot, whether it be on dirt, grass, in the beach, it's very healthful for your body, and which makes
Mhm.
sense, right? I mean,
Yeah,
before we were
but
even
and
like,
I,
go ahead.
yeah. At the same time, excuse me, I wanted to mention also, but I've heard also that you can get parasites by walking barefoot. So you got to be
Wow.
careful.
Really? I didn't know that.
Mhm.
That's scary.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everything is scary. That's
Right.
crazy. No, but even with kids, that's something that they say, because I studied child development, so they would talk about
Cool.
how being out in nature is very healthy for kids, to get dirty, uh, play in the mud, in the rain, things like that. And so it's I think it's human nature too for us to be out there exploring, and that's what we did. I think when we were in like native, like,
Mhm.
so
Yeah.
I don't know. It's cool.
Yeah. When we're back to our roots. And
Exactly.
I actually recently heard something also that like the soles of shoes when they started making like the soles of shoes, especially like modern shoes and stuff, that something about that material that wasn't letting our feet touch the ground was causing, I forget what diseases, what illnesses it was causing, like certain illnesses. I
Mhm.
forget, someone did a study or something like that. Gotta fact check that, but I found that interesting. I was like, whoa.
Yeah. Yeah, like we even like herbs and learning about all that, it's definitely interesting because I mean, what would you do if you like stay stuck out there? And not only that, but there's herbs and natural healing, things that you can find out in the forest.
For sure. I believe this planet has everything you need to cure anything that's out here. And
Yeah.
it's just a matter of, yeah, learning, tapping in with that stuff. But
Mhm.
yeah. And then I also wanted to mention, since we're on this topic, also, I feel personally, Sasquatches have taught me a lot of not only myself, but the forest, nature, um all that, and I think that's awesome. If Sasquatch could do that, Bigfoot could do that for you, it's amazing, and
Yeah.
I've been out in the woods for years and everything, but man, there's a lot I need to learn, and I'm still learning, and it's fun, and yeah, it's good skills to have, and being able to operate in the city too. I'm in LA right now, East LA, close to
Mhm.
downtown. You got to know how to move and shake out here too.
Exactly. It gets crazy
Mhm.
in the city.
Hmm.
You know, but yeah, so I wanted to ask you, have you had any paranormal experiences other than, we saw the
Yeah, so
swing?
the swing, right. And so when I was younger, I remember just being watching a lot of like unsolved mysteries, and there's a
Ugh,
show That's Incredible, and
that's me.
reading Guinness book, all that weird trippy stuff,
Mhm.
Guinness books, and watching a lot of UFO and ghost stuff. And my brother and I would be upstairs, and we'd have to go, we'd want to get a snack or something and continue watching or whatever. run downstairs, and in the back downstairs where the kitchen was, there's this back window, and for some reason I always felt like some gray alien or something was like staring at me, and we'd like run, grab our snacks, and jam upstairs. And so I always had weird vibes and stuff, but maybe it was just all in my head there. But as of recent, I had a real serious situation going on with myself. I was going through a really rough time, and just a lot of stress, anxiety, you name it. I wasn't doing good. I was actually doing pretty bad. And in this time, I had just moved from Humboldt County to Oregon, and in Oregon, we moved into an old farmhouse,
Mm-hmm.
and it's a pretty big property, and and it's an old farmhouse, but yet also it was a stagecoach, meaning like back in the day, like it was part of the Oregon Trail. So it was a stop there to get like
Yeah.
supplies and whatnot, and so there's a lot of history there, a lot of like I said, gold mines. The property actually has gold mines, and one of the nearest town is Jacksonville, and that town is haunted. There's several places there that are you could look up online that are well
Mm-hmm.
known for hauntings. Even the cemetery that in town there is just really creepy and old. Not as old as the ones in the East Coast, but it's been around
Yeah.
for a while. And I haven't gone to the cemetery to investigate yet. And actually, this last time that I went to Bluff Creek, they were having a ghost tour in town, so I missed out on that.
Oh
But
no.
yeah, I guess I'll just do my own little tour on my own, and hopefully
Yeah.
document some stuff. At least check out the buildings and stuff. But so anyway, so we moved to this town, and man, I started having some of the weirdest stuff happen to me. I was waking up in like sweats, having nightmares, just all this negative stuff was really happening in my life, and I was just like, man, what's going on? And just wasn't good. And then I started noticing, and this is like a little bit after we moved into the house, I started noticing voices in the house, like what they call disembodied voices,
Mm.
little girls. I mean, you name it, a man, and it was coming from like the bathroom area. And the house, like I said, it's old white house. It looks like it kind of looks creepy, but it's nice. It's a cool house. And I started hearing like these metallic shrieking sounds, also like metal scraping,
Um,
and I'm telling you, the nightmares, I can still remember them, and they're just horrible. Even when I think of them now, they freak me out. And it kind of climbed, and so I was hearing also crackling on the like cracking noises on the walls. And I asked my neighbor, because she's been there over 30 years, and I asked her, if it was haunted, and she kind of laughed at me. She said no, because I described the sounds and whatever. She's like, no, that's probably the house expanding with like the heat and stuff like that, and which I
mm.
heard, I guess it does happen. But
Yeah.
this was happening during I don't know if it happens during winter too, because it wasn't hot when this was happening. And yeah, it was creepy. Even now, the voices and all that stopped, the shrieking metal, but the crackling in the wall still happens, and I've tried to capture it with my phone. But honestly, I think if I were to post it, people probably wouldn't believe it. And so I don't know, I just keep it to myself. But I could document it when I go back. So anyway, it
Yeah.
kind of climax these episodes climaxed with in the living room we had a set of 3 books stacked on each other, and the bottom book was really big, and I didn't read the books, they weren't mine, but I would
Mhm.
always set them in a way where the biggest book was on the bottom, and the next size to the smallest size. It was 3 books stacked. And so I was in the bedroom sleeping, and I heard something in the living room, a loud bang. And eventually in the morning, when I had energy to get up, I went out to see what it was. I maybe thought it was maybe one of the cats or something. And I noticed the bottom book, the biggest book, was on the floor. And when I read the title, it was called like perinosis or something like that. Perionosis, I'm not sure.
Mhm.
And I read the back of it really quick just to see what the hell it was about, because I was like, what, this is what
Yeah.
made the noise. And it was like a book about paranoia and I don't know what else. And I was just like, what the hell? That freaked me out there too. And it, like I said, it was the bottom book, and the other two books were still in the place. So something moved that bottom book and threw it on the floor.
Wow.
That
That's
freaked me out.
scary.
And believe me, we were doing cleanses. We were smudging the house with sage. I would smudge the house with sage, burn Palo Santo, and but I think it was just something going on inside of me, possibly, that was causing this. And so since then, I've been really practicing my meditation, eating right again, taking care of myself, and man, life's changing. I mean, I'm still roughing it, going through some financial stuff, and I'm sure everyone's going through some stuff,
Yeah.
but man, my life has changed. Just making those changes and making right choices.
That's good. I'm happy for
Mhm.
you
Thank
because it
you.
does
Yeah,
take a lot of like self-control and motivation to change, especially even like your eating habits. It's so
Yeah.
hard.
oh yeah, and it could
Yeah.
be other habits as well. Eating. It could be anything, even being on the internet, whatever.
Yeah.
Everything should. I'm learning a moderation, a balance. Having balance in your life, and just trying to stick to the positive side of things.
Yes, definitely. Well, I know that you have a lot of more stories and images and things like that. So I would love for you to come back and share more,
Of
especially if you
course.
catch stuff in that house.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
um,
So I'll do that for sure. And I'll go
yeah.
back to the park. And then also, I wanted to mention, you ladies are doing a great job. You've had great guests on. Continue having those great guests on, and continue bringing more people on. And if I know any good people out my way, I'll shoot them your way. And thank you
Awesome.
once again for having me. It's been fun and it's been great. And cheers
Yeah,
to
we
everyone
really
out there.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Thank
much. Yeah, and,
you.
and I want to thank everybody that's been showing up in the chat and asking questions and saying hi. We appreciate all of you guys. But thank you, Brown Dwarf, for being here. We appreciate it. I know that you're probably busy, so
No,
hopefully you can come back another
yeah,
time and you can share more stuff because this is awesome.
for sure. Y'all stay blessed. Everyone have a blessed night, and I'll probably see someone or some of you in another
Yeah,
chat later tonight.
definitely. You'll probably see me
All
over
right,
there. All right,
cool.
everybody. And don't forget, I think
All right,
Vault said he was going to go live at 11 today, 11:30 Eastern time, Florida time. So catch that. And hopefully we'll see you guys in other chats today. So thank you, everybody, for coming by and saying hello.
Thank you, everyone.
All right. Bye,
ciao,
everybody.
ciao.